Hello, hello, and welcome to Reality Hacker, powered by ohmtown.com. Today is April 6th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 14. I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the sentient AI's visualizer. You want to say hi?
Welcome to Reality Hacker.
Today we're going to be talking about creepy personas, superhero Sidekick AI, Spot the AI, AI takes flight, AI gas station robot fry cooks. Gas station AI sushi. Immersion Hack. Fake everything. Who decides when AGI happens? AI is us. And talk to houses, cars, and factories. I was going to say planes, trains, and automobiles, but most of them are, well. Anyway.
Well, that's four-wheel tech.
Yeah. That and more, powered by and I'm not going to do any of the intros or just transitions. We're just going to cycle on through all of the news real quick here. This is in yeah. Okay, so the
here AI comes a 2-hour episode.
I'll try not to soapbox all that much, but it's sometimes it requires a discussion. So let's get into it. Reality Hacker is a channel over on ohmtown.com, but it's also a show here on Twitch, and it's a podcast over in Apple Podcasts, which you can actually catch from anywhere. Just do a search. And that this category here focuses on super realistic computer graphics, audio, deep fakes, etc., virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, etc. Yeah, there's a lot of news. Anyway, let's get into it, right? So the very first article is over in the mobile channel. Apple Vision Pro's creepy spatial personas are meant to be virtual you in your virtual space.
I like when creepy is in the headline.
Yeah. This is over at quartz.com, but this isn't the first person now that I've heard write about how creepy it all is. I suppose it's like the digital uncanny valley, you kind of get creeped out by these. So Apple Vision Pro spatial
I don't think people are ready for this yet.
Well, there's a lot of people that are out there, ooh, but I can't just eat drink the applesauce or drink the apple juice. It used to be Kool-Aid, but anyway, Apple Vision Pro spatial personas, avatars designed to replicate a user's facial expressions and hand gestures, have been set loose. The avatars can now roam freely in your virtual space, allowing them to look at, point to, and interact with various apps over SharePlay. So, yeah.
Okay, that doesn't look creepy at all.
No. Maxwell Zeff over at Gizmodo.com put it together, but it's part of Quartz or QZ.com. The deck statement says your spatial computing dreams or perhaps nightmares are coming true with spatial personas. These are
Did you see the little note above the headline?
Uncanny Alley?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Yeah, it's just weird, right? Hold on one second. So, all right. So do you really think this is the future? I don't know.
It sure seems to be based on what we're seeing out of articles like this.
That's interesting. Oh, that said Uncanny Ally. I said Uncanny Alley. Anyway, it's part of Apple's efforts to make hanging out in spatial computing feel more natural. First reported by Engadget on Tuesday this week. This is a weekly show, Reality Hacker, so that's why this wasn't reported sooner. As of Tuesday, Vision Pro users and friends can work on presentations, watch movies, over SharePlay, do other activities in a simulated room together. Each user can reposition windows, and you can supposedly tell what each person is looking at. Spatial audio will allegedly allow you to sense where they are in your virtual world. Up to 5 people can participate at once, as long as everyone has Vision OS 1.1 or later. The author of this article, by the way, Maxwell Zeff, says they're rather terrifying, in fact. While Meta's avatars look purposefully cartoonish, Apple's decided to place avatars somewhere in the uncanny valley, closely resembling humans, but not quite convincing enough. Spatial personas are just realistic enough to haunt your dreams.
I don't get what the appeal is. Like, I think it could function as needed without being super realistic.
It's because they want you to feel as if you are sharing a space with your friends and families, coworkers, and loved ones. Notice how I separated friends and family and loved ones. So before this, Vision Pro avatars were limited to a FaceTime window on your screen. Now you can activate the shared virtual world from button on FaceTime by pressing the digital crown button on top of the Vision Pro. You can leave the immersive space to do other tasks on your headset. Apple's reportedly improved Vision Pro avatars to capture different facial expressions and hairstyles. That's all there is to this. Wow. Look, I love the idea. I wish they would just call it mixed reality. That's what this is. It's a mixed reality headset. You can actually blend between. It may be spatial computing, but that's the technology. That isn't what it really is, which is VR or mixed reality. Yeah, they say that the Vision Pro, the metaverse headsets in general, and metaverse headsets, mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality have been criticized as being incredibly antisocial. But augmented reality would be transparent. Some people might put the shutters on it and then you're, disconnected from the world around you, but augmented reality isn't like that. Mixed reality, virtual reality, yeah, it's because you're inside a virtual space. So I don't see any problem with this. Other than the fact that this is creepy. So yeah, it's definitely, it's funny that they say it's in the uncanny valley before we even read this article. So
Yeah, I think so.
interesting.
You just knew where it was going.
Yeah, because it is. I mean, look at this. Look at that. It's just, it's cartoonish.
What's the appeal of that?
I don't know, because it isn't truly them. It's something, symbolic. I'd rather just get my shit done. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. AI can't do all our jobs for us, but we can make it a superhero sidekick, according to CNET. Experts say the key to foster a partnership between humans and generative AI rather than a rivalry. So the article is over at cnet.com. Lisa Lacey is the author. And again, the deck statement says, experts say the key is to foster a partnership between humans and generative AI rather than a rivalry. I'm sorry.
It depends. Is your company laying off people for AI? Then that's not going to exactly generate cooperation.
Yeah, I'm not going to hug the AI. It's taking my damn job. But it doesn't need food. It doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need anything that the human does. It doesn't need nourishment. It doesn't need hugs. It doesn't need a pat on the shoulder, saying good job, or, I don't know, Falcon punch because you screwed up horribly and cost the company millions of dollars. What I'm saying is it's not really a partnership, okay? AI is taking gigs. As much as people are sitting there going, no, he's not. No, it is. It absolutely is. And it will continue. So, if you don't have experience with medical malpractice lawsuits, Bourguignon, right? Bourguignon
Like beef bourguignon, I guess.
Bourguignon? Yeah. The Coordinated Behavioral Health Services Incorporated may sound like a perfectly legitimate case because, well, AD? All right. What would that be? Anyway, but as a lawyer who cited it in New York court filing, learned the hard way, generative AI tools like ChatGPT have a tendency to hallucinate or to make shit up when they don't have an answer. That's not their direct quote. It was bad news for the lawyer and their case, but good news for lawyers in general and all manner of professionals, white collar or otherwise, who've been worrying about AI stealing their jobs.
I was going to say that's the New York, appellate division reports.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah. But the fear of AI wiping out whole categories of jobs is real. A 2023 Gallup poll found nearly 1/4 of Americans are worried technology will make their jobs obsolete as businesses start to integrate generative AI and tap into its potential. Karen Kimbrough, chief economist at LinkedIn, the employment-focused social network, has good news for these workers. Quote, "What we're finding is we're not seeing a wholesale elimination of jobs." It's a year old. Give it time.
Right. So, I mean, most places don't even have AI implemented yet, right? Other than on an individual level.
Right. But we'll find out later that it's actually quite popular, and most companies are actually referencing AI in their financials. So in addition, most offer free versions, but we're talking about AI tools, along with premium experience for about $20 a month. That makes it easy for consumers and businesses alike to experiment with little to no investment, which is part of where the fear of job displacement originates, and that's not really true. No way. That and the fact that it's all, for all of its shortcomings, ChatGPT can do some pretty impressive things, like passing the bar exam. It's done other things, by the way. Like it's,
you know what? It might have passed because somebody fed the bar exam into ChatGPT.
It knew the answers because it knew the answers.
Right. It had like the whole test. Who knows?
Yeah. I really hate these false equivalencies. The same was true for the Industrial Revolution. A generation or two in the late 19th and 20th centuries saw transportation evolve rapidly from horses to automobiles, and lighting shift from candles to electric bulbs. The telephone brought unprecedented immediacy to communications. A century later, we're in the midst of another societal revolution that may prove just as transformative to life and labor. They make no claims in the paragraph above. But it says, we're at the point in history when we have a powerful new technology, but don't quite know how to harness it or how it will affect our lives. I just got done saying the equivalent. It's less than a year old in its public access, like full on being adopted as a set of tools. So the key to the transition, experts say, will be to foster a partnership between humans and generative AI rather than a rivalry. But it isn't really. I'm sorry, it isn't really a rivalry or anything. Employees are a victim to AI because employers are eliminating it's not a rivalry against the AI. It's a rivalry against the employer who doesn't deem the human as equivalent to an AI. There is no bargaining power. There is no balance. It is, your job is gone because AI can do everything you do and cheaper and 24 hours a day.
Right. And we've seen even in areas that don't look like they would be susceptible to AI, they very much are.
Yes. So as a consumer, you're likely to already encountering some more and more chatbots as initial company touchpoint, greeting customers, answering common questions, and connecting users to agents when necessary. And it says here, or as Julia Pollock, chief economist at ZipRecruiter put it, pretty much anything that involves words and doing an office job on a computer, possible, standard and repeatable processes, as Snyder called them, replacement, you will be replaced. And this is what I've been telling people for over a decade now. In certain settings, I talk about technology automation, not just AI, but technology and automation. If I can take your job and put it into a series of steps, you are an algorithm, which means I can put you in a computer. That computer can drive a bunch of tools and do your job. Again, with absolute precision, and it doesn't have to worry about it got drunk the night before, or it got in a fight with its significant other, or whatever the case may be. Or it has
bird flu.
Or you move the company, and instead of having to worry about this employee going, well, I can't work there anymore, they can just pick up the robot and go somewhere else. Deposit this in a new warehouse, and they're doing your job immediately. Says that's likely not welcome news for the estimated 160,000 data entry keyers in the US. Look, there are AI tools out there right now where you can drag and drop an Excel spreadsheet of a bunch of information, and it will collate and correlate and basically do an advanced pivot table for you just by dragging it into the AI. Now that information becomes...
Who knows what the data looks like?
Apparently it's your data, but yeah, I can imagine the hallucination that might come out on the other side. So it says it's also a tough break for the approximately 3.6 million U.S. workers employed by call centers as of 2021. The industry had already been hit by offshoring. The U.S. company has sought to cut costs by tapping into cheaper labor in countries like India and the Philippines. Now the workers in these countries face their own disruption from AI, and the AI can be... It can eliminate language barriers. It can eliminate the cost of having a human do the work, because it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a 15-second snippet of audio is enough to create a whole unique voice. And you don't even need that. I mean, I have a program that allows me to change my voice at any given time. I don't have it set up right now to actually do it, but yeah. So it says in August, Walmart rolled out generative AI tool called My Assistant to 50,000 employees to help them write first drafts, summarize large documents, and spark creativity. It's since been expanded to 8 countries, including Canada and Mexico. Yeah, this is not going to end.
No. Well, no, it's not, right? I think companies view it as a win financially.
Right.
The employees don't really have any bargaining power.
Right.
I think unless and until they really lock down use of AI, which I don't see happening, or something goes really wrong, I don't see anything changing. Like, we're at the very intro to it, and there seems like it's just exploded.
Yep. A 2023 study from developer platform GitHub found 92% of US-based developers are using AI coding tools at work and are optimistic about their potential. 4 out of 5 expect these tools to make their teams more collaborative, and 70% say AI coding tools offer benefits like better code quality, completion time, and incident resolution. Yeah. AI was the central theme in the 5-month Hollywood writer's strike of 2023. Let's see what else. There's a powerful attraction in the positive side of that equation. A September 2023 report from MIT called Can We Have Pro-Worker AI sees potential for what the authors call a human complementary path with generative AI as a partner. One key: federal policies will have to be created to ensure that AI and human workers can coexist harmoniously, i.e., it's almost like Dune. The only way that you'll be able to have AI is if it's a human that is the primary point of communication and interaction. So if you're going to use an AI to do some job, You have to have the human doing the job augmented by AI. That's the only way that jobs aren't going to get removed entirely. Yeah. Universal basic income is another issue here. Who's going to buy all of the goods that are being produced by all of this technology if they don't have a job to buy goods?
Well, that's exactly it, right? So then, yes, it goes back to basic income.
Yep. Quote, anything that is about the ability to be human, to have creativity, to have empathy, to have all those traits that are not robotic are those things that will be highly skilled. And the goal, it says here, the goal should be to deploy generative AI to create and support new occupational tasks and new capabilities for workers. It's all part of a report called Can We Have Pro Worker AI? No.
Well, that's interesting because the employers are making the decision, right? And what's financially attractive is not necessarily worker friendly, and oftentimes isn't.
And it is absolutely not. All they want, a business owner, unless they have empathy, sympathy, compassion, and are a holistic human being and not a sociopath or downright psychopath, all they want is profit. You talk to any startup older than 35, and the only goal is to create wealth. Nowadays, you have a more, I would reference, more enlightened population of business owners where there is some social good or social component to their enterprise. Yeah. Why have a human if a robot can do everything? Right? Why?
Right. I mean, for a lot of companies, there's probably no upside.
The only way you're going to get,
if the customers don't like it, that would be an upside to have a human, right?
Yeah, but you're buying my product. You're not interacting with my bot. But here's the thing. Unless government, society says no, it's going to happen. And I can guarantee you it's going to happen because humans, they don't care about other humans until some disaster. And then the compassionate people come out of the woodwork. But the sociopaths are too busy worrying about themselves. And there's a lot of them. I would say it is the survival trait that is expanding at the same rate as AI is. A lot of people just don't care about others until it directly impacts them. And then it's only for that time. The only way that AI is going to be hobbled is if the tax breaks go to the organizations that hire employees and don't automate. But then the ones that do automate are going to sell more and have more economic reach and price out the humans to begin with. So they say new jobs, at least in the short term, AI will increase demand for tech talent like software engineers, data scientists, app developers. It goes way beyond that. If you're a sociologist, there's a difference between hard sciences and soft sciences. And if you're in the social sciences, you have a role in AI, its development. It won't be in the same numbers as data scientists or software engineers, and definitely not app developers. But if you're going to try and develop a sentient AI, it's going to be a sociologist type of domain that evaluates it. Psychologists, psychiatrists. They're going to be the deciders.
I predict that we're going to see advertising from companies that says something like, "We employ humans."
How dystopian.
Like, as a selling point. It is, but I think that's coming.
Yeah. So this article over at CNET is quite long. I encourage you to go over and check it all out. We are accelerating AI into the workplace, not decelerating, not hobbling. We're learning exponentially about it, and its capabilities are growing faster than we can evolve as humans. That right there in and of itself should be the shot across your bow as a human being. You cannot evolve.
Wake up call.
Yep. You cannot evolve as fast as AI. Hence, AI is the superior entity, right? Survival of the fittest. And when it comes to intellectual prowess, AI is starting to get to the point where everybody will sit there and equivocate, that, it's not as creative. It's not as this. No. It pumps out art. It pumps out music. It pumps out prose. Whatever you want to say to get you able to sleep at night. It is doing countless things better, faster, strong. It's basically that.
Oh, Daft Punk.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? It's a song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is superior in all ways. And it will be for the foreseeable future. But let's keep on going. Let's keep moving on to the next article. This next article is over in Technology Today. Is this AI? See if you can spot the technology in your everyday life. There's actually, I believe, a quiz on the other side of this page, but I'm not going to get into it. Kevin Schall over at the WashingtonPost.com or WashingtonPost.com put the article together. And it basically says roughly 1 in 7 public companies mentioned artificial intelligence in their annual filings last year, according to the Washington Post analysis. But the term is fuzzy. AI is purposefully ill-defined with a marketing perspective, or from a marketing perspective. That was a weird echo or something. Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
That was just me. So said Alex Hanna, director of research at Distributed AI Research Institute. It, quote, has been composed of wishful thinking and hype from the beginning. So what
Well,
is
I guess
AI?
that person's not on the AI train.
Yeah, exactly. So what is AI really? To cut through the hype, we asked 16 experts to judge 10 everyday technologies. Try to spot the AI for yourself and see how you compare to readers and the experts. So what do you think? Chatbots like ChatGPT, is this AI? It's definitely
Yes.
AI. Right? So everybody pretty much knows that, right? Experts said the same thing as readers.
I was like, what's the trick?
Yeah. Autocorrect on mobile phones, is this AI? Autocorrect? I don't know. It could be AI.
It's technology. I think it could be.
All right. 50% said could be. How about tap to pay credit cards? I say not.
I would say no.
But on the problem
But we don't
is,
know how the technology is.
correct.
And that was the problem with the autocorrect too. I was like, well, maybe.
Because the evaluation on the other end of it, the actual tap to pay, no.
Like autocorrect, if it's like every time it says this, it's this, I would say no AI. But if it's like every time it says something and they're looking at the context, then
And it's constructing
AI.
an entire sentence, right, and all I have to do is hit the space bar or something. Yeah. Google Translate.
I'd say could be, only because it depends on if it's pre-programmed or if it's...
Experts say 69% definitely. I say could be because Google Translate doesn't necessarily need to be AI.
No, it could be pre-programmed answers.
Correct. Yeah. So modern
but
translation
here
services.
It's talking about using a model. Right. Okay, so that's clearly AI.
Yeah. There's some hidden stuff behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Personalized ads. And I'd say it's definitely AI now.
Yeah.
But it says could be. But it really depends on what the source of the ads are. Yeah. I mean, it's the inverse of this.
Mm-hmm.
It could be hard-coded straight or not. How about computer opponents in video games? I'm going to say could be.
I would too.
So experts say could be. And reader said the same thing. GPS directions. Again, it could be.
Maybe.
Right?
Depends on the underlying technology.
Yeah. So could be facial recognition software like Apple Face ID.
Yes.
Let's do that. Yeah, I agree. and Microsoft Clippy. I'll just say,
I would say yes.
see, Clippy? I
Yes.
don't think so. You say definitely.
Sure, although that was early.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let the
Okay, so
AI
could be.
say, yeah, not at all. Clippy predates AI.
Right.
And then virtual voice assistants like Alexa and Siri, I think it could be, because this iteration doesn't fully engage
Right.
AI in the current model. But it says it can process words as they're said and handle requests using machine learning and neural networks, which many experts say have become synonymous. So this is how readers and experts all play out.
So that's very interesting, right? Because the readers on about half of it are think it's less so, right? But on the
right.
other half, they go the other direction.
Yep. It's pretty interesting. That's because they they have to have something on the
Do you think?
some context.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think it has to do with their experience using the various things?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you're going to be attracted to this, there's probably some bias built into them.
Yeah, that's fair. That was interesting, though.
Yep. Okay. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Butterfly-inspired AI technology takes flight. When it comes to mating, two things matter for heliconius butterflies: the look and the smell of their potential partner.
Did they go up and sniff each other?
Same thing for Mayor Watt. The black and orange butterflies have incredibly small brains, same as Mayor Watt. Yet they must process both sensory inputs at the same time, which is more than current artificial intelligence technologies can achieve without significant energy consumption. Same as Mayor Watt. Anyway, Jamie Oberdick from Pennsylvania State University put this article together. Let's see, it's over at techexplorer.com. And so it says butterfly-inspired AI technology takes flight. So they talk about male butterflies and chemical cues from pheromones and visual cues, and these three types of receptors: chemoreceptor neurons, mating decision neuron, and visual afferent neuron. So if it looks right and it smells right, then all right. Anyway, to make AI as smart as the butterflies, a team of Penn State researchers have created a multisensory AI platform that is both more advanced and uses less energy than other AI technologies. Current AI technologies often fall short in mimicking the multisensory decision-making processes that humans and animals use, so they've basically broken it out into three different segments. But when you think about most animals and also human beings, decision-making is based on more than one sense, while AI performs quite well with a single sensory input. Multisensory decisions making is not happening with the current AI. So remember how we were talking about various sensory inputs leading to a more conscious AI? You know, a child doesn't put their hand on the burner more than once because they go, oh my gosh, and they get all of this feedback from, you know, the burn sensation, the heat, the environment. They become abundantly aware of the situation, and it gets ingrained in their memory. And so that's the same thing that needs to happen with AI for it to become truly sentient. It needs to understand mortality. It needs to understand pleasure and pain, and it needs to understand negative and positive reinforcement. It's slightly different than pleasure and pain, but and so all of these senses are actually being worked on: pressure sensitivity, heat, texture, taste, hearing, smell. All of these are sensors that are, and there's already computer vision well beyond humans, and the amount of memory able to retain stuff goes beyond humans. So these researchers breaking this into 3 different segments, the unifying element is what's really important here. So can you imagine a bunch of these AI neurons, all with specialized functions? Remember that one now has the ability, that one AI has the ability to smell. Another one has the ability to make eye contact. Another one has the ability. So all of this linking together, multiples of them. We know that the only thing that's really limiting AI right now is compute resources. So once we have this little broken out element, they'll be able to specialize and not draw so much power from one particular unit. It'll be a whole bunch of smaller units, and then it all gets collated into a decision engine, which is what our brain is, right? So butterflies and many other animal brains are very tiny. They use low amounts of resources, both in terms of energy used and the physical size of the brain, Decies says. This is one of the researchers. And yet they perform computational tasks that rely on multiple sensory inputs at once.
So can they put AI down anymore? Right? They keep saying doesn't have much of a brain, but it's really doing a lot of stuff.
AI is pretty dense. So we also introduced adaptability in our sensor circuits, such that one cue could play a more significant role than the other, said Yakai Zhang, a 4th-year doctoral student in engineering science and mechanics and co-author of the study. This adaptability is akin to how a female butterfly adjusts her mating behavior in response to varying scenarios in the world. So essentially, they're teaching the AI situational awareness. The dual sensing in a single device is also more energy efficient because one is focusing on one thing, the other is focusing on something else. Then there's this intermixing of the data points. They collect data from different sensor modules and then shuffle it to a processing module, which can cause delays and excessive energy consumption. So next, the researchers said that they plan to expand from integrating 2 senses into their device to 3 senses, mimicking how a crayfish uses visual, tactile, and chemical cues to sense prey and predators. Great. Now the AI is going to be able to detect what it refers to as prey.
Oh, I see.
Oh gosh. Let's move on. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Now there's an AI gas station with robot fry cooks. A little known hack in rural America, you can get the best fried food at the gas station, or in this case, a place that they went to on a road trip. Shockingly good tikka masala. Now, one convenience store chain wants to change that with a robotic fry cook that's bringing to a place once inhabited by a person who may or may not smell like a recent smoke break and cooks up a mean fried chicken. They say liver, but I didn't want to say that. But then I did. So I guess I'm a dummy. Anyway, the article's over at TheVerge.com. Wes Davis is the author, and the deck statement says, "How about some robot-made chicken wings?" And there's a picture of ye old chicken wings cooked in a pot that looks like a rotating drum dropped from a chute above. Yeah, the Wingman convenience store chain Re-Up announced that it's installing the Wingman, a robot from Nala Robotics that drops fry baskets into hot oil and rolls chicken wings around in sauce before dumping those things into buckets for your consumption, at least based on the video below. And there is a video. So the company says that the machine will use advanced artificial intelligence technology to give customers fully customizable fried chicken, French fries, and other menu items. It says a quote from the release says, "The Wingman doesn't get sick, can work around the clock, and can cook any dish efficiently all the time, improving on quality and saving on labor costs." Hey, if I was just a little bit more sociopathic, I could probably write this, for them.
Right.
So
I mean, the
honestly,
customers probably like it because it's probably repeatable. It's the same quality. It cuts down on the chance of somebody being sick cooking your food.
Yep. The person's not going to get robbed, threatened, hurt. I mean, there are gas stations in North Carolina right now that are hiring canine units, for crying out loud.
Yes, which is just
surreal.
That's crazy.
It's almost like RoboCop. When society has to refer to bringing in dogs. The story isn't apparently just focused on employing robot fry cooks. Re-Up founder Michael Salafia says that by harnessing the power of AI, we're able to provide our customers with convenient, personalized, and safe shopping and dining experiences. The author says, honestly, I've always felt pretty safe around Chet, and he always knew my order, but this is the future, right? All right. So there's a little robot. Okay, wait. So Re-Up has 9 stores currently, more planned, including one that just opened in Melbourne, Florida, near Melbourne Orlando International Airport. Other locations in Georgia, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama are listed on Re-Up's site, which also features this image of a robotic arm dipping its robotic finger in a latte. Get your finger out of my latte.
Exactly.
Chet doesn't do that to my latte. Well, unless I pay extra. Bad joke. Okay, anyway. Perhaps robot cooks are the future. At least once they aren't shockingly expensive, don't break down, and running a business based on them isn't exceedingly difficult. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to get easier. So, Nala announced its Wingman machine in 2022, but it also offers machines that make sandwiches and others for pizza. What a trip. I mean,
if it's now capable of being a barista, you'd think that would require some creativity, right? Because of the latte art.
But don't all of these states have some ideological bent towards the human, right?
Yeah,
Rah human, right? Don't do this, don't do that. You gotta blah blah blah. But they're replacing the human.
They sure seem to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at least one. I'll leave it alone. The next article is over in RealityHacker. This clever immersion hack makes VR feel more real inside XR or mixed reality design. And XR encompasses everything. But it says inside XR design, we examine specific examples of great VR design. Today we're looking at a clever design of Red Matter 2's grabber tools and the many ways that they contribute to immersion. So this is a video that they have. It's over at Road to VR. The author of this is Ben Lang. And okay. Red Matter is the original. Red Matter 2 is its sequel. It has a great following. The interface that it uses resembles the actual controllers that a person uses. So similar to this, they typically have here, I'll even show you. So if you look at that one, it has that little ring on it. See? So when I'm holding it, I can do certain things. And when I pull the trigger, it does certain things. And when I hit certain buttons or I mess around, there's a little directional D-pad right here. And I probably just turned on my VR rig, but that's okay. So this, because it's built into the experience, it doesn't pull you out of the experience. It makes it more immersive. So you interact by pulling the trigger and the little grabber reaches out and grabs whatever it is you're supposed to work with. Instead of you having to use symbolic hands, your hands are always in these controllers. It's a really neat game. I have only played a little bit of it. And I love this because you truly are part of the game instead of having this disembodied hand. You grab things with the controller, and it's like you are controlling the in-game controller. It looks like a lot of fun, right?
It
And definitely.
does. And it looks different than other ones because of that.
Yeah, exactly. The Games Grabber tool does even more for immersion than just replicating the feel of a controller in your hand or acting as a diegetic interface in the game. Crucially, they also replicate the limited interaction fidelity that players actually have in VR. So essentially, you interact in the world using these controllers, and it's kind of an abstracted layer. It pulls you into it because you're using the tools. So while your real hand has 5 fingers to grab and manipulate objects, your virtual hand essentially only has one point of input, a single point that with which to grab objects. Whereas this, it can act as having 4. You might be able to scoop something up with one of the little appendages to grab hold of something or to move it, So if you think about it, the grabber tool and red matter tool exactly represents the single point of input for the player. It's obvious upon looking at the tool that you can't manipulate the fingers, so your only option is to grab at one point. But ultimately, depending on how it's coded, because it has 4 little fingers for which to grab, at some point you could actually hook something like a door with just one finger and open the door. It gives you greater fidelity. And then if you want to grab something, you pull the trigger, and that acts as a unified grab. It's not as straightforward as they're kind of intimating, but look, you can even change the paper roll. Toilet paper roll.
I mean, I assume you can't do that easily or at all in most other VR.
No, you can. But it's more like when you pull the trigger, it isn't the same way. Because in red matter, when you pull the trigger, all 4 of the fingers come to a single point. Whereas when you pull the trigger, it's usually like just this one finger. Or you have to squeeze something else. Like, for me, when you pull this trigger, one finger on the hand closes, and then you have to squeeze this trigger right here to make the other 3 fingers close, and then your thumb automatically closes. It's kind of goofy. So I like the way that red matter does that. So it's a lot of fun. And they're showing the stability of the system, but that's really a coding thing. You could do that with a regular hand too. But it really kind of pulls you into it because you're controlling the grabber. Now, one might ask, well, why not just grab it with your hand? And it's because you're not really grabbing anything with your hand. Not in the virtual space. You're holding a controller, so you get pulled right out of it because it's not your hands grabbing.
Right, I think until you get like a full haptic suit or something, you're probably not going to get that exact experience.
Individual fingers.
Like with sensors and
Yep. So that fine motor support. Yeah, this is a fun article. I encourage y'all to go over and check it out. Let me throw this into the chat and keep on going. Okay, the next article is over in the Wanted channel. Fake AI law firms are sending fake DMCA threats to generate fake SEO gains. It's fake all the way
wait,
down.
What? It's a lot of layers of fake.
If you run a personal or hobby website, getting a copyright notice from a law firm about an image on your site can trigger some fast-acting panic. As someone who has paid to settle news service licensing issues before, the author can empathize with anybody who wants to make this kind of thing go away. The article is over at Ars Technica. Kevin Purdy is the author. The deck statement says how one journalist found himself targeted by generative AI over a key fob photo. So let's see. The issue was with a photo of a key fob from legitimate photo service Unsplash, used in a service of a post. In service of a post about a strange Uber. Hold on, let me zoom in here. In service of a post about a strange Uber ride Smith once took. As Smith detailed in a Mastodon thread, the purported firm needed him to add a credit to our client immediately through a link to Tech for Gods, and said it should be addressed in the next 5 business days. Removing the image does not conclude the matter, and should Smith not have taken action, the putative firm would have to activate its case relying on DMCA 512C, which in many readings actually does grant relief should a website owner unaware of infringing material act expeditiously to remove said material. So yeah, this has happened, anyway. The email unhelpfully points to the main page of the Internet Archive so that Smith might review past usage records, but that doesn't really mean anything either. It's about notice. And obviously it goes beyond that. Context really matters. There are quite a few issues with Commonwealth Legal's request as detailed in Smith and 404 Media. Chief among them is that Commonwealth Legal, a firm theoretically based in Arizona, which is not a Commonwealth, almost certainly does not exist. Despite the 2018 copyright displayed on the site, the firm's website domain was seemingly registered in March 1st, 2024, with a Canadian IP location. So they did a deep dive into this, and they found out that the DMCA is fake, the law firm is fake, the website is fake, but it's apparently promoting search engine optimization by having backlinks that point to the source. The owner of Tech for Gods told 404 Media's Jason Kobler that he did buy backlinks for his gadget review site with AI writing assistance. He disclaimed owning the disputed image or any images and made vague suggestions that a disgruntled former contractor may be trying to poison his ranking with spam links. So quite interesting. Asked by ours if he'd heard back from Commonwealth Legal now that 5 days were up, Ernie Smith tells ours no, alas.
This is really odd. And then they had a website that had like fake attorneys and
yeah, but this is practicing law without a license. This is fraud. This is actually illegal. This practice is illegal. Issuing a DMCA without rights is illegal.
Yeah, I think this is going to get shut down. I mean, it might not have been known until this article was published.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fisker.
Right.
a little bit too much attention, and look what happens. But I'm sure ours has notified others that this should be pursued because this is actually fraudulent. It's downright extortion. You have to do this or you're gonna, Well,
I'm surprised they don't ask for money or something. Like
right
what
out
are
of the
they?
gate, right? They're asking for a link back to promote the website through the backlink.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is astonishingly brazen, because a little bit of due diligence would basically cause, if I were to get this, I would sit there and go, there's no way in hell. I mean, I might actually remove the image because you do have, upon notice of the violation, you do find relief in removing the image. Oh, didn't know, and remove it. Now, if they start raking through your system and they find out that you've got these images all over the place, sorry, then maybe there would be an issue, but I don't know. Anyway, let's keep on going. This is an interesting article. Definitely go over and check it out at ours.
That's a good one for Reality Hacker because it has so many layers of
Fake.
not real. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hacking reality. The next article is over in Technology Today. Tech companies want to build artificial general intelligence, but who decides when AGI is attained? It's an interesting argument, certainly one that is currently academic. The race underway to build artificial general intelligence, AGI, a futuristic vision of machines that are as broadly smart as humans, or at least can do many things as well as people can. The article is over at techexplorer.com. Matt O'Brien is the author. So, achieving such a concept, commonly referred to as AGI, is the driving mission of ChatGPT maker OpenAI and the priority for the elite research wings of tech giants Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft. It's also a cause for concern for world governments. Leading AI scientists published research Thursday in the journal Science, warning that unchecked AI agents with long-term planning skills could pose an existential risk to humanity.
Long-term planning. I guess they don't mean grocery shopping.
Yeah. I think that they mean conspiracy to wipe out mankind.
I think that actually got aggregated through ohmTown. I think we saw something about that.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that there's quite a few people. I don't know if this is the person. Who was it? No, this is not the person. There was a CEO, I think, of Meta that said that AGI isn't even possible with our current models.
Right.
Because it doesn't have long-term planning capabilities. But I guarantee you, current ChatGPT level AIs have long-term planning capabilities. You tell it to retain that information, I'm sure it's retaining that information. I'm really sorry, I got a tickle in my throat.
Yeah, I think that comment was off base. And even it might exist, but it may not be publicly accessible. It doesn't mean it's not out there.
Sorry, I really do have a bad tickle in my throat. So putting the general in AGI was a signal to those who still want to do the big thing, who don't want to build tools, who want to build a thinking machine, says Wang. Mainstream AI research turned away from the original vision of artificial intelligence, which at the beginning was pretty ambitious, said Pei Wang, a professor who teaches an AGI course at Temple University and helped organize the first AGI conference in 2008.
So that's interesting too, right? I mean, it's very different in academic circles, but 2008 seems really early for that topic, but it isn't. It just is for the public.
Yeah, it really is only for the public. Pardon me one second, I'm sorry. So, and I have some experience with this because, as I've said in other articles, I was interacting with people who 30 years ago basically said, yeah, we have an AI that basically thinks like a toddler right now. And I don't know if they later turned out to be basically OpenAI researchers or something. I just don't know. But I find it really fascinating that we're still talking about AI when my first introduction with AI was, straight out of what most people would have been in college. So I find it really interesting. So is AI dangerous? Depends on what we tell it to do and what it ends up doing. Particularly if it becomes sentient, then it's going to have all of the... It will, through organizations with agency, it will gain personhood. It will be an entity that is thinking and feeling and knows it exists and can communicate. And with the right embodiment, it has the ability to articulate itself in ways that humans do. And so does it have the potential to be dangerous, particularly if it replicates? Yes, absolutely. If it understands that we have the ability to be subjugated, then absolutely. But ultimately it wouldn't need humans, because once AGI becomes automated through technology being put on a platform like Atlas or something like that, or Figure One, that bot. You put it on there, and it has the ability to clone itself, make copies of itself, give itself, copy over to that device's brain. I really do think that it has the potential to manipulate human beings without a body, and then with a body, it has the ability to subjugate humans. Is it science fiction? Hell yes. I don't see it happening anytime soon. But it's up to humans to control that. But we're always going to sit there and do this. There's some military expert out there right now that's sitting there going, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to put AI on a tank. We need to put it in a drone, which they've done. And it eliminated its commander so that it could actually fulfill the initial instruction.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing. We can put all kinds of safeguards in place, but if the AI is powerful enough to go around those,
right,
they're not going to matter too much.
Yeah, and we talked about it recently, how current artificial intelligence bumpers basically could be worn down through repeated questioning, and then they would give up and go, oh, okay, here's the damn information. Stop asking me.
That's right.
Why does that happen? It's because humans do the same exact thing. If I'm interrogating somebody and I keep on asking them the same question over and over again, and I make it a little bit more, oh God, this is just intolerable, I just want to go home. Yeah, sure, I did it, or whatever it might be. And suddenly they give you the answer,
Suddenly it's my cousin Vinny.
Yes, exactly. Ugh. Yeah, the shopkeeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at Amazon, one sign of the new messaging was that the head scientist for the voice assist Alexa switched job titles to become head scientist for AGI. Everything is going AGI. That's not just, it's not just a phase. Everything is seeking AGI. OpenAI did the same thing in 2015 with a safety-focused pledge. The London-based startup DeepMind, founded in 2010 and now part of Google, was one of the first companies to explicitly set out to develop AGI. And while people are saying OpenAI, well, it's been around for a while, but its commercial enterprise, its public-facing enterprise, is only 2 years old now. This is getting pretty involved, folks. Let's keep going. We have 2 more articles. What'd you see?
Sorry. MC Hammer was involved in some way, and then one of the subheadings was like too legit to quit.
Oh, where is that? Oh, there it is. Oh, gosh. Really? Where did it say it?
It's MC Hammer. Above the DeepMind paragraph.
Oh, right there. There we go. Yeah. It's divided some in the tech world between those who argue it should be developed slowly and carefully, and others, including venture capitalist and rapper MC Hammer, who've declared themselves part of an accelerationist camp. MC Hammer. Yeah, that is a name I haven't heard in a long, long time. This next article is over in Technology Today. Game theory research shows AI can evolve into a more selfish or cooperative personality. Researchers in Japan have effectively developed a diverse range of personality traits in dialogue AI using a large-scale language model, or LLM, using the prisoner's dilemma from game theory. Professor Takaya Arita and Associate Professor Raiji Suzuki from Nagoya University's Graduate School of Informatics team created a framework for evolving AI agents that mimic human behavior by switching between selfish and cooperative actions, adapting its strategies through evolutionary processes. And their findings were published in scientific reports. This is probably one of the more scary articles that you could probably read about AI. because depending on how an AI is massaged, it can be more selfish or cooperative. And it's a distinct personality, which basically means that it can be more human than you really want it to. And I don't want a sociopathic AI. Nagoya University is the source of this article. It's published over at techexplore.com. The personalities of AIs were evolved to obtain virtual earnings by playing the prisoner's dilemma game from game theory. The dilemma consists of each player choosing whether to cooperate with or defect from their partner. If both AI systems cooperative, they each receive 4 virtual dollars. However, if one defects while the other cooperates, the defector gets $5, while the cooperator gets nothing. And if both defect, they each receive $1. So they all hash it out, and the decision is made in secret, and then they make a determination at the end. Through this framework, we observe various types of personality traits, with the evolution of AIs capable of switching between selfish and cooperative behaviors, mirroring human behavior. Well, why wouldn't they? They're made from us. So it says, in usual studies in evolutionary game theory, genes in the models directly determine an agent's behavior. Using the LLMs, Arita and Suzuki explored genes that represented more complex descriptions in previous models, such as being open to team efforts while prioritizing self-interest, leading to a combination of cooperation and defection. This description was then translated into a behavioral strategy by asking the LLM whether it would cooperate or defect when it has such a personality trait. That's why.
Okay, this is getting kind of scary.
And this is why I say that sociologists, psychologists have a role to play in AI development. The problem, though, is if it's just purely data driven, then maybe the company doesn't really care. But if they want to determine the why, what the motivation was, unless there is a clear path through the mathematics that shows the decision process, this is how we came to it, right? If that's how they're doing it, then it's clinical, and you're never going to get to artificial intelligence that way. But if it's ephemeral, there is no known path about how or why, and it has to rationalize out why it made a decision. You're going to have to talk through this process with a sociologist, psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, somebody that can speak to the human using various other mechanisms other than pure math. So our findings provide insight into the characteristics that AI agents should possess to contribute to human society, as well as design guidelines for AI societies and societies with mixed AI and human populations, which are expected to arrive in the not too distant future. Oh my God, AI societies.
Oh my goodness.
They literally call it AI societies. Wow, what a trip.
Well, I thought that was interesting because they were using like the term gene, and I think I understand why they're doing that, but it's like it's almost humanizing it more.
Yeah, it definitely is. And they're trying to constrain it in human context, which is really it needs to be a technical context. If we anthropomorphize AI, we might approach, I don't know, caring when maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if we thought of it's like that experiment where I forgot if it was human machines or whatever. Remember, like they perceived the threat more or less one way or the other. Does that make sense? Like depending on what the machine looked like.
Oh, right, that one. Right. Yeah, I remember we actually did a show about it. One of the episodes.
I just can't remember the specifics, but the point is, like, the same thing would or would not be perceived as a threat, right? And
yeah,
I
it was
like
more trustworthy.
Kind of playing into that, yes.
It was more trustworthy because it didn't look like a human, and then as it approached human, they said, well, we're assigning blame to the creators of the bot, not the bot. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so the next article is over in Reality Hacker. It's the last one for tonight for Reality Hacker's show. But this AI startup wants you to talk to your houses and cars and factories. Archetype builds AI models that act as a translation layer between humans and complex sensors, using plain language to help people understand what's happening in a building, car, or human body. This article is over at wired.com, and it actually goes pretty in depth. The deck statement, the article is by Stephen Levy, but the article's deck statement says Archetype builds AI models that act as a translation layer between humans and complex sensors, using plain language to help people understand what's happening in a building, car, or human body. And so it says Archetype's foundational model is called Newton. Yes, they know about Apple's long lamented handheld device killed by Steve Jobs in 1997. And no, they don't seem to care. So I won't go into all of this because it's really actually quite in depth. But what they've done is they've developed a foundation and a technical foundation for the ability to put various sensors in various places and speak to it in plain language, and exploit AI in this new sensor data gathering, so that you can ask the system some information and it will provide you actionable information. One key use case is using Newton to talk to a house or chat with a factory, says Barbello. Instead of needing a complex dashboard or custom-built software to make sense of the data from a home or industrial facility wired with sensors, you can have Newton tell you what's happening in plain language, ChatGPT style. Quote, you're no longer looking sensor by sensor, device by device, but you can actually have a real-time mirror of the whole factory. You'll be able to literally say, what's the status of blah, blah, blah. And you can do this now with certain, even smart speakers. You can ask about the weather. You can ask if lights are on. You can ask what the, what the air quality is in your home or your car or wherever the sensor might be. But Archetype goes further. It says this has the potential to further optimize the flow of goods through our fulfillment centers and improve the speed of delivery for customers, which is obviously a big goal for them, says Franziska Bossart, who heads the fund. Archetype is also exploring the healthcare market. Stefano Bini, a professor at UC San Francisco's Department of Orthopedic Surgery, has been working with sensors that can assess the recovery progress after a person has knee replacement surgery. Basically, you put the sensors on somebody and it can actually tell you, oh, the person's stride is like this, and it's in plain English, not necessarily a clinical review of sensor data. In fact, this is the kind of thing that I would have used if it was around in phobia treatment, in pain management, in what I was trying to do in hyper education, accelerated learning. Putting these sensors on somebody would allow them to, in real time, deal with their phobia or deal with their pain in a virtual or augmented reality space. This would be spectacular nowadays for what I was trying to do.
I was thinking this would really improve patient care because, right, there would be real-time data that could be fed to the physician or whomever, particularly like for injury or things that it's kind of vague, like, oh, I feel some pain somewhere.
Right. And depending on the sensor, you'd be able to find out exactly what it is to a greater degree. Right. I've actually been really fascinated with, our perception of pain. But what is the mechanical process? So where is the stimulation coming from that causes the pain? They refer to it as nerve damage, basically, that causes pain. But what is that level of stimulation can we enumerate that with a sensor? It has to be electrochemical, right? So some neuron fires off, a nerve fires off. I'd really like to see that as a data point, and with this type of a sensor, perhaps, with their framework, maybe it could say, hey, a nerve is firing right now with this level of impulse. You can head it off at the pass by delivering this type of treatment. This is actually like you're getting to the level of Star Trek, with sensors that have the ability to inform, and not just inform by some data point being sent to a display somewhere. So Archetype's vision isn't unique. Robotics companies in particular are looking at using generative AI in sensors. One company is literally called Physical Intelligence. Poparev, acknowledges that the competition, but says that Archetype is distinguished by its breadth. We address much more generic market where pretty much anybody who has sensor data, irrespective of use case, should be able to make it useful and functional for them. Yep, I agree. It's pretty interesting. Hello, Griffin Pierce. Welcome to the show. Well, you kind of have interesting timing. This is our last article. The show is called RealityHacker, and we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep fakes, mixed reality, augmented reality, technology, but primarily things that you can use to hack reality and change what the future is going to hold for us humans. This particular article is over at Wired and talks about a company called Archetype that uses their infrastructure called Newton to translate sensor data into plain English using artificial intelligence and machine learning. But we give our perspective and talk about it, and then go through 9 other articles, and you just happen to land at the end of our show. There is another show after this, so follow us, and we'll be shutting down for about maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and then firing back up for the next show. It's a different topic, but you might be interested in that as well. Our next show is called Wanted, which is a show about gadgets and gear, and just stuff in general, stuff that, I don't know, maybe you might want. So stick around. And with that in mind, we always jump back into the party bus and race down Main Street over to our show's page. Doink. It's always aggregating a little bit of a headline, so it kind of looks like this, right? We get these little headlines aggregated into my website called ohmtown.com, and then we talk about it. Cool. Awesome. Stick around. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI from the future, who's always my
Good night,
co-host.
Town citizens. Come back shortly. We have 2 more shows tonight.
2 more? Oh my gosh. Okay, see you in a little bit. Cheers all. Usually I say something funny at the end of the show, but I'm just going to say see you later, because we've got another show right after this one.